Right here in front.
Even with your name in kind of all those awards, you've stayed consistent with it's a team mindset and a family mindset. Why do you think it's so important for that to be the most important thing when it's so easy to fall into an individual type mindset?
Well, I think football is, the best team game in the world. And I think, it takes so many different people with so many different skill sets, to be good at. And so I'm just a piece of the puzzle. And so whatever I can do to help this team win, I think is, a bigger deal than any individual award. And, don't get me wrong, they're great. I'd love to have them rather than not. But it's more of a team game than I would do anything to have, this team set up at a chance to win rather than, any individual award.
There weren't a ton of touchdowns in the first BYU matchup, but where do you think they challenged you, the defense as a whole? Where do you think you guys have improved and going to execute that on Saturday?
Yeah, I think they do a really good job with running the football, and they do a really good job. They don't see a lot of pressure, and they don't get sacked a lot, and that's a lot of credit to their game plan, and then their offensive line and their quarterback, and I think they're all extremely talented players, and but I think it all starts with stopping the run. I think any good defense, you need to set edges and be able to stop the run, and so then when you can do that, you have you get to rush the passer, and you earn that right with stopping the run. But man, just excited for the matchup. I think they play really good football, and I'm excited to play high level football.
On that note, when you're mentioning stopping the run there, LJ Martin is one of their key threats offensively. How do you avoid, or how do you try to stop plays, or what's something Coach Wood has been taking you guys through to try to bring him down before his linemen come as reinforcements to try to shove him for a couple extra yards?
Yeah, I think they do a really good job with trying to outpopulate you at the point of attack, and so everything that we do, we need to have knockback tackles and not give up any leaky yardage, and it's something they're really good at is driving the pile, and it's something that we need to be ready for and prepare for, and we're just excited to have that opportunity to take another chance to get better.
Joey mentioned when the Womble Football Center was built that first hallway in there where all the trophies are, there's a spot left open for the Big 12 Championship trophy. How often do you walk past that? How impactful has that been for y'all to see that visually?
Yeah, you walk past it every day, and so it's a really good representation about what can be done here and what needs to be done here, and I think everybody in West Texas, everybody in Lubbock has earned this, and I'm hoping that this team can be the team that will bring that to them, and I'm just proud of this team. Everybody comes into work every day ready to work, and it's something that we see every single day when we walk in and walk out, and it's something that's constantly on our minds, and we try to go 1-0 every week, but now this might be it for this team, and you just never know, and so going 1-0 every single day is what you got to do, but now we're actually playing for hardware, and that's something that's on our minds, but it's the same thing every week, and you just got to prepare the same and keep the same routine and do what you've been doing and do what works. So yeah.
And then over your career in this season specifically, how valuable has Debbie been to this program just in terms of morale and just having kind of like a motherly or a wife figure in the building?
She's the best. She's she is seriously the best. We all know how great Joey is and how awesome of a person he is, but Miss Debbie is right there, and she's right by his side and supports him in every single way, and she loves us like we're her own. And it's such a great feeling to come into a building and have that family atmosphere that Coach McGuire's built, and just know that it extends to more than just him. It truly is a family feel in this entire building, and I hope that everybody can kind of feel that from top down. But I know everybody in that locker room feels the same way.
Jacob, I asked Barron this already. He was a high school quarterback in Texas. And I just asked Cameron, too, because he played quarterback in Texas as well. You played quarterback here in Texas, too. What does it mean for you to get to play in a stadium where obviously there's so much history in this state? And being a quarterback, a former quarterback, what does it mean to get this opportunity?
Yeah, it's unreal. I actually got to play there in high school, and, world class. Seriously, the stadium – the way it's set up, the screens are massive. Like, you'll find yourself sitting on the sideline, like looking up, just watching the game that way. But it's it's unreal. It seriously is, a great place to play, a great place to be. We got beat terribly when I played there, so don't go look that up. But it's no, it's a great place to play, and I'm just lucky that we're a part of that, and we can be a part of that, and this team gets to experience that together.
And then one thing I've noticed, I know it's maybe a simple thing, but you guys kind of do something before the game where you're rugby tossing the ball around and stuff around the field pregame. Simple things like that can just kind of level you before a game. What is it like, those types of traditions that you guys have been doing together that just helps you stay focused and kind of just say, oh, it's just a football game?
Yeah, it's something that I've been doing ever since I got here, and it's kind of where you're just trying to get warmed up before the game, and so there's no like drill or mental prep that I can do to get ready for the game. It's one of those where it's just kind of going out there and having fun, and you just try to get it warmed up. So whenever we go out there, we'll have a nice sweat going and really get warmed up, but it's not going through and doing footwork drills or anything like that. It's kind of just loosening up before the game starts, because then we'll go and we'll do our official drills together with pads on. But just being able to go and kind of hang out, and like this is a kids game that we get to play, and it's so fun that we get to keep playing it at this age and keep going, and so just kind of remembering that this opportunity that we have is so much fun, and it's not an opportunity that many people get. And so just being able to go out there pregame and just kind of mess around and throw the football around like you used to in the backyard or in the street, it's a great opportunity, and you get nice and warm and loosened up for the game. So it's awesome.
What does this coaching staff mean to you, and how they've helped you to get to where you are today?
They've changed my life, no doubt. I think starting with Coach McGuire and his belief in me, and then Coach Wood and what he's done for this team and this defense, and then Coach Mack letting me come over and play some offense again. It seriously has been, I feel like it's been like life-changing event after life-changing. You remember I'm going to remember these things for the rest of my life, and I'm just so fortunate to be a part of everything that we have going here, and they mean so much to me, and the way that they believe in me and trust in me, and I have that same faith and belief in them, and I'm just so thankful just to be around them every single day.
What was your read on that pop pass, and would you think about pulling back down?
Oh, as soon as I threw it, I was like, oh, no, I should have just threw out the back of the end zone. But, guy had a good spot on him, played good defense. Bad ball.
You talk about this being a team sport. Who's some of the unsung heroes on the entire team that you want to give some recognition to? Because as a leader, there are people that you're setting the future for this team.
Yeah. Sheridan Wilson, Davion Carter, Lee Hunter, Brendan Jordan, I think Trent Lowe, Gage Elder, Oliver Miles. I could just keep naming. Like, there's so many people that come in every single day.
What's the one key that ties all those players together?
I think, one, how hard they work, and two, how much they care about this team. And everything for them and everybody who I didn't name, I think it truly is all about this team, and being present and just doing their job, whatever their job looks like, just being all in for this team, and knowing that we just have to go 1-0 today, 1-0 this rep. And there's so many unsung heroes on this team, and I wish I could name them all, but I think just the collective appreciation for everybody in the locker room, and the appreciation for how hard each of those guys work, it just kind of sets everybody apart. When you got guys around you who want to work that hard and who excel at what they do.
You've received a lot of national attention. This team has received a lot of national attention. Just how are you handling that individually? How do you not let it get to your head and get ahead of yourself?
I think it's great, but I mean, it's just football, and it's something that we've been playing. I've been playing it my whole life. I started really young, and it's the same thing. It's the same game. It's obviously gotten a little bigger and faster and stronger, but it's still just a team game. And all the awards are great, and a lot of the guys are getting notoriety, and they should, because they're very, very talented and they work very hard. But still just a team game, and it's something that we love to go out there and play.
Jacob, a moment ago when you were naming all those players as unsung heroes, nearly everybody you named was a more experienced upperclassman guy, except for you named Oliver Miles, a freshman. How does he make that list for you?
Yeah, so Oliver, he started on the defense side of the ball, and we had a couple running backs get banged up early, and they asked him to switch, and he did so willingly, and no complaint, and he was going to get reps on the defense side of the ball, and he was happy to make the change because he wanted to help the team, and it's kind of what the team needed for him to be in that role. And it just kind of made me think about him because he had that huge play this past weekend, and but we have guys like that all around who are young guys who are willing and able to step up and do the right thing when their name's called. And yeah, he was just on my mind because of that play he had. But so many guys on the team are like that, and so many young guys are really learning off of a lot of the experience and the older guys on the team. And I think that we've just gotten so close that we expect them to go in and do their job and do it at a high level. And we're proud of them for that.
You mentioned Trent Lowe and Gage Elder, also two guys who are in your room but don't get obviously the same attention that you get at the playing time or all those sorts of things. What's your relationship been like with those two guys in particular?
I mean, I've known them ever since I got here, and we've been in the same room, and we've been in the same position a lot of the time. And those guys never complain, but they're in every meeting. They're not taking reps off. They're contributing a lot on special teams. They're doing their job at the highest level, and that's what you need to have a great team. Is you need guys who are willing to do whatever it takes to win, and whatever that role looks like. Whether it's, I know those two would rather be on the field on the defensive side of the ball making plays like they can, but we need them to do what they're doing on special teams and be kind of anchors of this unit. And so that's kind of why I talked about those guys, is because I'm just so proud of them and so appreciative of their attitude every single day when they come into work, and how much they care about this team, and the only thing that matters to them is this team winning.
Just curious also, on Friday night when you all got back to the hotel, I guess after going to your movie, did you stay up and watch the end of Arizona State, and were you aware that you had already were in the Big 12 championship game before you went to bed that night?
Yeah, so Ben and I are roommates, and we get into our hotel room, and I go to take a shower, and I come out, and he has the Texas A&M and Texas game on, and so then I'm watching the last bit where they throw 2 interceptions and it kind of gets locked up, and so we switch the game, and so we're kind of both laying in bed. We have an early kick, and so I look at him, I say, all right, we're going to watch this drive, and then we're going to go to sleep. And so then we kind of watch, and then we're kind of looking at each other, like, because we both want to keep watching and kind of want to know what happens. But it was such a late game that we ended up turning it off and going to sleep. And we found out in the morning that, we had clinched. But, yeah, it was kind of a funny moment, we both knew that we wanted to watch the game, but we had to go to sleep because we had an early one.
You said it, that it's just football, and you've talked so much about how fun this season has been. Can you give a few examples of how the coaches have fostered that kind of environment for y'all?
I think there's not any true moments. It's just kind of like how everybody interacts, and we still have to be strict in areas where we need to get better and we need to perform, and there's things that come up in practice that we really have to, work and stress. But, practice it's so much fun to go out and practice. And, it's week, gosh, I don't even, it's week, 14, 13. It's week 13. It's not fun to go out on a Tuesday and sprint around, when your body doesn't feel good. But, it makes it so much more enjoyable when you have guys who, want to be out there with you, and then you have coaches who understand that it's this late into the season, and, we have to strain when we need to, but then, we can also, have a little fun and realize that we get to play football, this late in the season, and that, it's such a blessing to be able to, just be a part of a team who is relevant this late in the season, whereas in years past we haven't been. And so, it's just nice that they all can kind of understand that and see that too. And it's just kind of, the meetings that we have, the interactions we have, it's they understand, and it's all kind of understood, kind of everybody's mindset of, we need to go 1-0 and we need to win, but we still understand that, it's a game, and it's a blessing that we even get this opportunity to be here.
How have you seen Sheil and some of the other new coaches on the defensive side, their personalities open up throughout the season as you guys have gotten to know each other better?
Yeah, I know when Coach Wood first got here, he would kind of make jokes, and in our linebacker room we kind of look around, like wondering if we should laugh or not, because we just didn't. Like his humor is so dry at times, and so then now, I mean, he is the funniest guy I think I've ever been around, and so it's hilarious to be in those meetings. But yeah, I mean, early on you just got to get to know people, and then now I feel like I've known them for years, and I wish I could, be a part of this team, and, I wish I could learn under Coach Wood for, the next 5 years. I tell our freshman inside linebacker, Brock, that all the time, that, like, dude, I envy you so much because, you get to be here and be with Coach Huire and be with Coach Wood and, learn this system and this defense and, be around great people and great humans. And so, yeah, I think all of our coaches are the best, but especially Coach Wood and a couple guys. It took us a little while to kind of learn their humor, but I mean, it's awesome.
And you mentioned that this group has changed your life. How often do you have those conversations with your coaches, just about how appreciative you are, and maybe even with your teammates as well?
Not as much as I should. I think it's always hard, telling another grown man that you love him. It just kind of is what it is, but there's so many times on the field or off the field where, you show your appreciation, whether that's, a look or a head nod or whatever it is. But, on the field it's a little bit more, outgoing. And so just appreciation, giving a hug here and there after a game or congratulating them. And, I appreciate every single one of those guys in the locker room. And then, these coaches too it means so much to me. And, I hope that they can see that, but I hope that they can more so feel that, energy and all that inspiration that it comes off.
We're good. All right. Oh, one more. Back to Sheil. He was named a semifinalist for the Broyles Award. You obviously, what's it mean to see somebody else, including your defensive coordinator, to be recognized like that?
I mean, I guess I'm obviously biased, but I think that he deserves every award that there is, and, what he's done for this team and this defense, on the field and off the field. I think just the leader of men that he is, but then, as a football coach, X's and O's wise, he's unbelievable. And he always, puts us in a great spot to have a chance to win. And, there's very few times in games where we, came out to the sideline and had much to, tweak or change. That goes into, Coach Wood and the coaching staff, their game plan going into the week, and the way that they prepare us every single week throughout the, Tuesday, Wednesday practice, Thursday walkthrough, getting us ready to see the picture that we're going to see in the game, and them being able to motivate us the way that they have. I think, he was the perfect man for the job, and I give a lot of credit to him because he deserves it. He's earned it, and I'm just so thankful for him and his family, and they come up here all the time, and his wife and his two beautiful little girls come up here and hang out, and it's great to see them and them be around, and I'm so thankful for him, and I think he deserves everything that he gets. Everything that he gets, he's earned.
I'd love to hear one of his jokes if you can share one of them, because I don't know if we can. We don't get that in here, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, God, he doesn't really tell jokes necessarily. he loves messing with our freshman inside linebacker Brock, and he keeps telling him, you only have so many days left till you're not the freshman anymore, and there's just so many different things that he's the best, but yeah, he doesn't really tell jokes. He has perfect timing. I don't know how, perfect timing, and it's awesome. Thank y'all. Appreciate you guys.